Hello, divine souls. Welcome back to my channel, Verallon Healing. So, today I want to speak on manifestation and prayer and on the fundamental dilemma that if everything happens in God's divine timing, why should we pray or why should we set intentions at all? And if the universe has a timing, why exert, our own will prior? So, I have been called to share this, and I want to take a few minutes to talk about this. My understanding here, right? So, prayer, I feel, isn't about changing a rigid script. It's not like you are changing a pre written script. The idea, in a nutshell, is that one is, while praying, collapsing infinite possibilities into the most highly probable reality, right? So, the intention in prayer, past life karmas or present life karma, and time, they operate more as a cohesive system. Because God's timing is not a static date on a calendar, it's a state of frequency matching. One can think of cosmos as a massive ocean of infinite parallel realities or infinite outcomes, as I was shown as a visual. And in this space, there is a timeline where you achieve your highest potential. But that timeline where you achieve your highest potential, or which is your highest potential, sits at a very high frequency. So when one is praying, it's a deliberate broadcast of energy. When one prays, it adds power to a possibility. When one prays, it adds strength to that outcome which you want to manifest, which is at a high frequency. So, prayer acts like a magnet. It increases the chances of that particular outcome to happen. It gives it's in a way that outcome tends to now have a higher probability of manifesting in the 3D world. So, by projecting a specific intention, one is actually increasing the probability of anchoring that specific timeline into one's physical reality. So, in a way, every potential version of someone's life is already an active frequency waiting to be accessed. So, it's already there. And God's timing, divine timing, simply means that the outcome manifests when your internal frequency matches the frequency of the result. Now, prayer is a tool that alters your frequency to close that gap. I'm using the word prayer. One may have their own processes here. Maybe simple meditation can also alter your frequency, or anything else for that matter. It's like you are co-creating the arrival time. Okay, so I also want to take a few minutes on understanding how this fits in the concept of linear and non-linear time, because in the 3D reality, time feels linear, but we always hear that in the quantum world, it's more like it's not really linear, it's non-linear, it's like a stacked deck of cards right, with past, present, future happening at the same time. But I personally feel that time does behave differently depending on the realm of existence where one is interacting with. I mean, time may behave differently if you are interacting with it in the 3D reality or in the higher realms. It behaves differently. So, in the dense physical 3D world, time does feel like it's functioning linearly. There needs to be a matrix of balance. It's like if you plant a seed, one has to wait for the tree to grow. And if an energetic depth is created by your actions, then the scales have to balance. Scales must balance, right? So, if we think about it, linear time actually feels like a mercy, because there is a time delay between your thought and its physical manifestation. So, in a sense, you are given time to recalibrate, maybe let go if needed of certain thoughts, or maybe course correct before you actually manifest something that may be not right for you, because not all choices or intentions will help you in life. Some may lead you in a negative vortex. So it does seem like karma uses linear time to sort out lessons, to sort out depths, to provide an evolutionary growth. And it feels like it follows a very orderly sequence. But at the level of pure consciousness, the soul, the soul and divine timing, time feels completely non-linear. Past, present, future exist simultaneously as a single web of energy, as some folks put it, as I said earlier, cards stacked on top of each other. So it's like an infinite menu, focusing more on manifestation and prayer here. It feels like an infinite menu, right? You have infinite outcomes, which are there in the menu, right? So it's where your infinite outcomes live. Every choice one hasn't made yet, every potential future, every past lesson is fully alive, right? This is where, Akashic readings and all can access both past and present, and can also talk about possibility of a certain future. It's more like accessing that field. So, from both a quantum physics perspective and a metaphysical one can think of different possibilities and outcomes as distinct vibrational frequencies, or I would like to call them different energy signatures. So each possibility is an energy signature. And if the universe is an infinite radio tower and it's kind of broadcasting thousands of stations simultaneously, then each station is kind of a different potential outcome of your life, right? They all exist in the same room right now, but you only hear the one where your radio dial is tuned to. And most importantly, you choose to tune to that particular outcome. So it's your choice, right? So what you dial into is your choice. And when someone experiences a very sudden, unexplainable shift, like a spontaneous healing, there may be a sudden massive windfall. They are able to manifest something like there's a sudden massive windfall or a lottery or something like that. There is a sudden profound shift in consciousness at that moment, right? So it's like they have temporarily stepped out of the linear karmic processing and tapped into the nonlinear quantum space. Now it is this state which we call as miracles. It's like one has jumped to a higher probability timeline. So when you pray with deep intent, you are standing in a linear time. It's like you are trying to reach up into the nonlinear quantum field while in that process, through the praying process, whichever it is. So linear time, it forces us to kind of develop mastery over one's focus, right? So density of the physical realm is important. It does ensure that only the intentions we consistently feed with a stable frequency, they survive the lead time transit to become real. So by reaching out to that quantum field, one is selecting the highest potential outcome and pulling it down into one's physical reality. Linear time also kind of dictates how the physical pieces they shift into place to get to you. Maybe for your manifestation, one needs to meet certain people, or certain events need to happen before you are able to manifest, or maybe some karmic steps need to be taken to reach that particular manifestation, or to have that manifestation in the physical reality. So the density, the linear time, it dictates all that. And the higher dimension, where your manifested frequency already exists, is already there, right? And it's actually waiting for you, right? So by adding strength, power, and intention to a possibility, one is actually altering their grid. you know you tell the cosmos that, okay, out of all these infinite paths, this is the one that I am choosing to experience. The universe then adjusts the linear machinery of karma and timing to deliver that reality to your door. So your intention through prayer or through any other process actually shifts the dial to tune into something that's already there for you. So when you set a powerful intention, um, you aren't kind of begging a distant force that, okay, please change your mind, universe, please, this is what I want. You aren't begging a distant force to change its mind. It's more like you are artificially generating the frequency of the desired outcome inside yourself, before it physically manifests. And you hold that frequency, right? So most of the time in the process, you may reach a high frequency, but you have to hold that frequency, right, to physically um, see the changes in the physical reality. So this could be through intentional visualization, through emotional alignment. You may be doing some actions. You begin thinking, feeling, and acting like the version of you who already lives that outcome, right? So every potential version of your life has an energetic temperature, a specific emotional temperature, right? So one may be in a very dense vibrational frequency. One may be in a frequency dictated by fear, stagnation, repeating old karmic cycles. Maybe one is running on an autopilot, very, very kind of slow and dense vibrational frequency. But then there are timelines of growth, you know. So obviously, if one is in a low frequency, they will attract low frequency outcomes, right? Where somebody is in a high frequency of growth, abundance, breakthrough, alignment with your higher self, they obviously carry a very refined, a very fast and rapid, and a very, very light vibrational frequency, right? And both low and high frequency, they cannot occupy the same experiential space. They will only cause chaos and confusion. So if one is vibrating at a frequency of anxiety or scarcity, you are almost like you are invisible to the timeline of abundance, because your receiver cannot decode the high frequency data. It's already there. The manifestation, what you want to manifest, is already there. It's just that your receiver is not ready to decode that high frequency data. Okay, so as your personal frequency rises to match the frequency of that specific possibility, the probability of it happening skyrockets. So the universe materializes it for you because you have become a perfect energetic match for it, right? So in the end, I'd just like to say that it's important to shift the concept of divine timing in your mind, that it's not a passive waiting room. The idea is that all it's saying is tune your active radio dial and be conscious of where you are tuning your own frequency. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you.